You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Matt McGachy, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians. We talk all about their lives and music while sharing killer craft beers. If you've ever wanted to sneak backstage and share a beer with one of your favorite musicians, well, Vox and Hops is the podcast for you. This week on the podcast, I dropped a killer episode with Kelly Schaefer of Atheist. There is this episode and over 440 other ones to help you enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. So what are you waiting for? It's time to become a Vox and Hops head. Cheers!
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I am stoked to bring you this one. I've been wanting to do this one for a very long time. My friend Daniel Harmann is on this week, and Daniel and I actually worked on a song together that is out right now. If you look up his name on any of the streaming services, you can find the record. It's called Unknown Ghosts Volume 2. And I won't bother giving you all the gory details because we pretty much do that on this episode. And I want to get into that as quickly as possible, but I have two small bits of business to get out of the way, and I think these are things you are going to want to hear about. So, first of all, the Gun Street Burnsides. You may remember, probably about a year and a half ago at this point, maybe a little longer, Ken from Roadhouse Pickups came over to the Shred Shed and started coaching me on making pickups. And I quickly realized that I was out of my depth with that. Yeah, I could make some pickups, and yeah, I learned a lot from Ken, but I definitely did not have the time to master the craft. And so when the Gun Street / Stringjoy merger happened, I found out that Sean had already been dabbling in the pickup world. In fact, I'd gotten a sneak peek at some of the prototypes he was working on too. So when we decided to merge, we realized that we had this perfect opportunity to bring back some of Ken's designs, which do not exist anywhere at all in the pickup world at this point. They are based on some vintage, what I've been calling super pro guitars from the past, and there aren't any options for that I'm aware of currently on the aftermarket until now. We brought back the Burnsides. The Burnsides are a recreation of one of my very favorite pickups. If you've seen me play my Roni Oceana on the interwebs at any point, you have heard them. And we've got some awesome demos up from Mark Johnston, Emily Harris from Get Offset, and an okay demo from me over on the product page. So I'm going to put the link to that down in the show notes. This is a pretty unique offering. I'm really, really stoked that they're finally back. And I just had to plug that in here before we dive into this episode because I'm really, really, really stoked on it. So please check that out. They're a very unique single coil. They're very, very quiet, and we're really proud of them. So please check that out at gunstreet.co, and the link is in the show notes. The other bit of business is, I've mentioned this before, but just a reminder, if you want to order from Stringjoy, there is a discount code now associated with this podcast. Tone Mob, all one word, will get you 10% off. It's a one-time code. It doesn't work forever, but Tone Mob, all one word, will get you a discount. Unless you're a certain level of Patreon subscriber, in which there might be a little something more for you. I'm just saying. Go back in the post-Patreon, listeners, if you haven't seen anything related to what I'm talking about. Scroll back a few posts. It's there, I promise. Anyway, Tone Mob will get you a one-time discount at Stringjoy. If you've been curious, if you've heard me talk about it a million billion times and you've just never pulled the trigger, here is a good excuse to give that a go. And please let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what you think. We put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into these things, and I think that it shows. All right, let's stop plugging stuff. Let's get into this episode with my dude, Mr. Daniel G. Harmann. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Chasing Tone. That's not the Chasing Tone podcast.
We need
this
to do
the Tone
we
Mob.
gotta do the countdown again?
Oh, no, we don't. We were just talking about Chasing Tone. That's a first. That's hilarious. Wow. Welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob podcast. I'm your host, Blake Weiland, and with me today, I have my friend Daniel G. Harmann. What is up, my dude?
Oh, just chilling, enjoying the summer finally. Well, not officially, but, it's sunny here in the Northwest, as you know. it's been a long winter, so it's beautiful to see some sunshine.
Yeah, and I know that, we talked about this when we were recording, which we'll get into. We're both solar dads, so, we were checking our numbers on our recently installed solars.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
the most dad thing ever. It was just like, it was like, whoa, look, my kilowatts.
I know. I'm like in the green for the year, so I'm happy. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very excited about that. Positive, returning it to the grid. So yeah.
That's right.
Excited.
Yep.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I like it. I was like, this month, my electrical bill was finally like where I was. All right, cool. We got there.
Yep.
Because if it didn't pencil out sooner, I was going to start freaking out a little bit.
Saving it for the deep, dark winter.
Yeah, exactly. Banking those kilowatts.
That's right.
Well, dude, it's so good to have you on here. I know, we could have recorded probably when I was in Seattle last year, but we were heavily sidetracked with what we were doing, tracking guitars and whatnot. And that record finally came out, but I want to get into that a little later. I want to get into your story because, we've become, fairly close over the last few years, but I've never actually sat down and asked you about your whole musical journey because I wanted to save it for this, to be totally honest. So, when did you start playing and writing? And you obviously got heavily into gear. And how did all this happen? How did we meet?
Wow. Well, thanks, man. Yeah. So I grew up in really rural Arizona. I lived there until 94, and then I moved to Phoenix and started playing in punk rock bands. And I grew up like singing and in choir in high school, and started playing guitar at the end of my high school career, I guess, and then moved to Phoenix and started playing bass like in a punk rock band, and then moved to Seattle in 99 and started writing my own songs, and ended up recording a record that came out in 2001. And I recorded it with Greg Markle, who now, it was in Recovery Studios and put out on Recovery Records, which is now, Greg Markle now runs Recovery Effects and Devices, whose pedals I love and champion them as much as I possibly can. And Greg,
I've got a couple skating here, an older one.
I saw Greg on Sunday. It was my birthday, and he actually made me a pedal for my birthday. He has the only other one. I was like blown away. It was like the kindest gift. It's a fuzz pedal. He and I have the only ones. I was so happy, and just like the kindest gesture. He played at my wedding. And so Greg and I have just stayed in touch, and I've just been really close for so long. And he's recorded the first like 4 records of mine. Just kind of like Pacific Northwest singer-songwriter dude. Always had visions of a bigger sound. So, as I think often is for the singer-songwriter type, recording songs, writing songs in their bedroom, and then recording them, and then putting the songs together for a live setting, recruiting people to play with you, and then remembering how to write this or how to play the songs, and then turning them into something bigger. So I put a band together called The Trouble Starts, which was the name of one of my songs, and then went on tour and a couple times, went to the UK, did the US a couple times, did a couple more records, and then just went back to doing solo stuff. And I did like a 2-year stint doing shows at Seattle Tacoma International Airport. I was doing those 4-hour gigs a couple times a week. So
whoa,
yeah, I got like really good. I was doing like 4-hour sets, so I would do 30 songs back to back. And at the end of those 2 years, I went to Greg, and we recorded those songs, and 30 songs to tape with no edits. And like I did like a couple takes of them, and they came out, and it was called Disasters. And that was really my last kind of like singer-songwriter-y thing that I did. And then I can't remember what it really did after that. I did obviously then kind of like the pandemic, I guess, happened. And I did a lot of collaborations with like international artists that I've met, through work and just through life. And fast forward to a year ago, I had an accident where I broke my leg, and pretty bad.
That was gnarly.
Pretty badly. And I was in bed for a month, and I had the previous 6 months had recorded a bunch of songs on an OP1, which is a teenage engineering, like keyboard, drum machine, 4-track recorder, and on planes, because I travel a lot either for work or whatever. And my goal was just to like write and record a song on every flight, whether it was like a 10-hour flight or a 2-hour flight, just to be productive. And so I had like 8 songs that were like wildly different than what I was kind of used to doing. And I was like, what am I ever going to do with these? So I just kind of shelved them on my hard drive. And then lo and behold, last June, I was like stuck in bed, and I asked my wife to grab my MIDI keyboard, and I cracked them open, and I couldn't play guitar or sing or anything. So I just built them out into a record, and they turned into what I ended up calling Unspoken Ghost Volume 1, which was my first kind of ambient electronic record. And that came out in September. And I really enjoyed that process. I really enjoyed the process of, I've always used my voice and guitar as the key melody driver for me. And having that removed was challenging, but also exciting, because for 25 years, that has been what I've been using. And it was nice to move away from that. Trying to find melody in other ways, but also, with a lot of like electronic music, it can become repetitive, and not super melodic. And I wanted to have definitive parts, and I wanted to have a melody that kind of carried through and tied things together. So that was a challenge for me. And I had so much fun doing it. I wanted to do another one, but I wanted to like collaborate with other people, because I'd had a lot of fun over the last couple of years during the lockdown and stuff doing that. So I reached out to some homies like you and some other people whose music I really liked, just, or who I just liked as people, to see if they wanted to come along. And so we did. And I have had 7 songs that came out last week in June 2nd. So that was volume 2. That came out. Unspoken Ghosts Volume 2 came out June 2nd. And then I'm working on the vinyl edition, smashing the 2 versions together. That's coming out, sometime in the next 40 years, once vinyl gets pressed. Yep. As those things go, no, I'm hoping it'll come out in the fall. Everything will be being shipped off in the next 2 weeks. So then it's up to the vinyl gods to sort that out. So
fingers crossed.
But yeah, that's just kind of the quick rundown. And then you and I met just kind of through work stuff, probably I guess about 2 years ago.
That sounds about right.
Through what I do, we started working together, working on the podcast stuff on the business side of things. So I'm very fortunate to have made a new friend. It's not very often as an old man you get to meet new people that you want to hang out with, So.
Yeah, it does become exceedingly rare. I mean, I say that, but I have to remember I'm really fortunate in that regard, where my job forces me to meet new people all the time.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of a social person anyway, so that doesn't, some people that might freak out, but for me, that's part of the perks. And so yeah, I do tend to run into people more, and I take that for granted sometimes. That's not how most people operate. They don't just talk to new people every single week for an hour plus.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, it's the process was really fun. I mean, I threw my family into our little car and drove up to Seattle, and it was like really loaded. That car is great. It's a Kia Soul. It's really great if you're by yourself with lots of gear. But when you have 4 people and you're trying to bring every pedal you can think of, it gets a little squished pretty quickly. But I think I brought 2 guitars, I don't remember how many pedals. I think I brought a little amp because I wasn't sure what the situation was, but we didn't end up needing it. But yeah, it was quite the journey trying to get everything in there. And then we got to your place, and the process kind of unfolded. You know, you never know how these things go, right? And it really unfolded for me like the normal American Cyclops stuff. Just put out a bunch of pedals, plug them all in, and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And what we started with was really cool, and I was digging the vibe. But by the time you got done with it, it was like, what? That is like, it's, I can hear the parts, I know because I was there, but it's mind-blowing to me to flip back and forth between like the first draft or the second draft and the final draft. Like, how did you, and you know, for everybody, well, the links will be where you can go listen to all this and everything, but how did you come up with like the rearranging of things the way you did? Because it's so vastly different than where we started.
Yeah, I think, you know, every song is, with the exception of the Wong song, the Corey Wong song, every song on there is completely different than what I originally sent out to people. So the way that record worked was I created a bunch of, and same with you, a bunch of loops. You know, I think I created like loops on the OP1 or some like stuff in Logic, which was like a drum loop, and a synth loop, and maybe like a guitar, really basic guitar line. And then I shipped them out to you. And I think it was like maybe a verse and a chorusy part, and that was it. Because I really wanted the collaborator to shine. And so I sent them out, and you're actually the only person that was in the room with me. Everyone else was remotely sent stuff back to me. So, you know, Corey's song was one of, because he recorded his stuff like, I want to say 2 years ago. Like because I was thinking about doing another like singer-songwriter record, and I sent him like 3 songs where I was like, hey, do you want to play on this record? And like a month later, he sent me that one back, and I was like, wow, I don't know what to do with this. You know, like I don't hear any sort of vocal melody on this, because how can you sing over how great his guitar playing is? You know, like I can't outshine this in any way. So another thing, I was like, I'm just going to put this over here for later, and it will find its place. So I didn't mess with that much. You know, the structure was there. I had already built it out to what it is for the most part.
Yeah.
I added some keyboard and bass and stuff, but that was kind of it. For yours and everything else, you came up, we tracked it to the loop that I had set up. And then we just tracked a bunch of stuff, you know. We tracked bass, a bunch of bass. We tracked baritone. We tracked, I think, 6-string guitar, but we also tracked 12-string. Because I have that 12-string Rickenbacker. And we tracked, I remember the Golden. We tracked, because you brought the Golden up, which rules, because I ended up I loved it so much that I got the Delverb, which I love. I
think I got a picture here. Let's see if I can find it.
And the Maris.
Oh yeah, I did. Yes. We had the Maris, we had, I'm looking at this first setup, and I know that wasn't all we used, but for the listeners, just because I got historical documentation here, I've got the Fuzzrocious / Tone Mob Typhon. I've got the Cooper Effects Outward, and then going into the Mr. Black Tape X2, then stereo outs going to the Victory Kraken, the Golden, and the, let's see, are those in the same? No, the Kraken, yes, the Victory Kraken into the Golden, and then another separate out to the Ibanez LF7, because, you know, this is a gear podcast, so they're going to want to know all that. But I know for a fact we swapped the Kraken out at some point, and we did get some Mara stuff involved in there too. I think the Polymoon, if I remember correctly. So yeah, we went all over the place, but that's the only chain I took a picture of for all the all the nerds out there like myself.
I was actually talking to a friend of mine today about the Maris reverb pedal, and I was like, because I don't have any Maris stuff, and then it made me remember the LVX that you brought up. And I was running through all of the like preset samples that they have on there, and I was like, every preset sample sounds like the beginning of a Minus the Bear song. Like it sounds like like everything like in a like less rad version of something Dave would do. You know, that pedal is crazy, and I think that it would melt my brain if I had it. Like it's like a hologram, you know. Like
it is, but what's great about it, at least for me, from my perspective, is because I've seen lots of pedals that have really deep settings you can really dive into, and they're generally menu based, where you kind of have to scroll through a couple different things, and it's all like listed in words.
Mm-hmm.
This has that if you want it, if your brain works that way, but it also has graphic mode, which is way easier for me to get my head around. You can kind of see how things are actually structured inside the pedal, and I'm able to get my head around it, even though it's very complicated. Way easier to make sense out of than other pedals of its ilk,
and easier to like go back and find it. Like if you're like, I love that one, I want to use that again.
Yeah, you can save it as its own preset. So They have I can't remember, up to 99 presets, and I think it comes preloaded with 30, I think. Something like that, 27. I don't remember exactly, but you have plenty of storage space for your own stuff.
Okay,
for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
I might have to pick it up. I don't know. It's I got a 99 presets, and yours ain't one. No, I'm.
But I can send you mine.
I would love that. You sent me the Tone Mob pedal for Christmas a couple of years ago, and I love that thing. I use it on everything. So thank you.
That makes me so happy. You have one of the last ones that I think I gave you the second or the third to last one that wasn't mine, and then I gave the other two to the Thrice guys. So,
oh wow, I'm in amazing company. So thank you.
So there you go.
Yeah. So you came over. We were normal for a while, then drank a little whiskey, and then things got wild. And then
that's right.
The dogs were very good. They're here behind us now. They're used to noise. Jack is old and deaf, so he's better with noise than Frida is. My chair's all jacked up. So that was good. And then you left, and then I the way I like to do things is I get things, and then I listen to them, and I go, "That's cool," and then I put it away, because if I'm too close to things, I get annoyed with it, or I need to like have some distance from stuff for a while, you know? Mm-hmm. So I put it away for like a month, and then I got to work on it. And I just kind of deconstructed it, you know? I want to take the things that shine the most. And it really, what happens is, and this is what happened with every single thing, with every other song on the record, was the stuff that you did was so much better than the original stuff that I sent you, that I wanted to write new stuff to elevate, you know, to bring my stuff up to your level, you know? So
you're too kind.
No, it's true. So I just wanted to completely recreate, you know, or completely create new things, new sounds, new elements to, you know, match where you were on it. Mm-hmm. And I hope I did. And it, you know, to me, the fun stuff is arranging, you know, taking parts, because we just kind of threw everything at the wall, you know?
Because if I remember correctly, the loop was pretty open. It was mostly beat.
It was very hip hop based.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of room for me to throw. I was like, well, there's all this space here. I better fill it with walls of fuzz. So, but when you came back with that, when I first heard that sequence part, I was just like, okay, what is happening here?
Well, I hope you're okay with where it went, you know?
Oh, I love it. Good. I love it. It's so much better than, I mean, I was really happy with where we landed. And then it came, like, when you got done messing with it, I was like, this is better.
Oh, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vincent, and I'm here to talk about the Maris Mercury X. My dad's always going on and on about how cool Maris is. He really went off on one about the Mercury X the other day. He said something about a 4800 hertz sample rate and 99 preset locations and 33 banks, and something along the lines of the most advanced reverb pedal ever devised by man? That's all true, but I only care about one thing. This pedal sounds sick. So make sure you check out the Mercury X and all the other fine products at maris.us, as well as fine retailers worldwide. All right, Dad, now can I have my Pocky?
How exactly do artists get their music on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, all these services? How in the world do you get your music there? Well, in the past, you had to use something called a record label. But these days, you can use DistroKid. DistroKid is the absolute easiest way to get your music up on streaming services. And it's the most affordable way to do so. Not only do plans start at $22.99 for the entire year, that's less than $2 a month, DistroKid also does not take a cut of your streaming revenue, unlike some other services out there. Even better if you sign up by going to tonemob.com/distrokid. That's tonemob.com/distrokid. One more time, that's tonemob.com/distrokid. You'll get 30% off. That's right, 30% off their already extremely reasonable prices. So go to tonemob.com/distrokid and get your music out there.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always kind of scary collaborating with people too, because it's like, are they gonna like where it goes? There's a lot of trust that is involved in it, but yeah, it's fun and a little bit scary, but mostly fun. And I'm just thankful that you were willing to like go with me on that kind of journey and open to getting wild and just coming up here and bringing your family and just wanting to hang out. It was just really fun, and so I can't thank you enough.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do it again sometime.
I would love it.
And that's another thing I was gonna say. When you fired your camera up, part of me was expecting, like a New York City skyline, because I know we talked about that last time. But seems like you're still chilling in the PNW.
Yeah, we are. I think with our old dog getting older, I think we just kind of want to stick around here for the time being, and we love it here. We love our house, and both our families are here, so we're not trying to get out anytime soon. We really love Seattle, and we have a little place on Vashon that we like to go in the summer, and it's just it's hard to get out of here in the summer.
It really is.
You can't really beat it. There's no better place to be. So
yeah, every time we'll be sitting around at night and looking at Zillow or something, and it's usually Nashville for obvious reasons to all the listeners, and it's like, well, we could go to Nashville and it would make a lot of sense career wise. And then we'll have days like today, and I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Who am I kidding? Like, that's not happening. I'm not leaving the Pacific Northwest. That's crazy.
And it's a little sticky there.
It's a little sticky. I love Nashville. It's my home away from home, but I don't see how I'm not an Oregon boy for life. At least as home base, for sure.
Well, plus you got solar, man.
That's true. That's true. I got to be here at least 3 years to get my money back.
Exactly. Well, what's on the anything new Cyclops wise?
I mean, yeah, I've been working on a lot of stuff. So I was trying to do, when I got done with the first record and got it totally done, I then did a handful of like singles. In fact, one of them was in Nashville, using only the Maris LVX into my interface. And that one's called 2 a.m. for any listeners, because that's when I recorded it.
Amazing.
I know that was a bit of a challenge to myself, because I'm normally this guy with all the pedals and all the craziness. And I was like, let's just bring one unit. Granted, it's the most intense unit that I could have brought, but one pedal, plug it in and see what I can do with it. And it's kind of a lo-fi real grainy, dreamy sort of sequence, but I was happy with that. But as far as what's new, I have so many things going on right now. Part of me wanted to do a more happy record and something that was in the same vein, but less minor keys, less people getting arrested.
I'm familiar.
Things like that. But then the other part of me has this very ambitious project that I've started. I've only gotten one portion of it really finished, and it's a spoken, or it's kind of a, I don't know if this has ever been done before. I'm sure somebody somewhere has, but I've never heard of it. So it's spoken word with instrumental, but it's also supposed to be a book. So the idea is that you could read the book on its own, you could listen to the audiobook with no music, you could listen to the album, which is everything combined together, or you could just listen to the music with no words. So basically trying to make one masterpiece of media and then have everything be able to work around it. And I've only gotten one, I guess you'd call it chapter. It's chapter or song, however you want to look at it.
What a great idea.
Done. Yeah, and it's like kind of a post-apocalyptic sci-fi thing. And I've been really starting to, my sister's an author too, and I've been thinking like I really should, that's the thing that I felt the most inspired by after I got done with the first Cyclops record. But then I quickly was like, I just want to do more music stuff. You're making it too complicated, man. But I realized, kind of looking back, as soon as I got done with that, I was really inspired to do that. And I was really, really excited. And having a goal for me is important.
Yeah.
So with Tom, the goal was get a record done before, I think it was like February 21st of 2021, something like that. It's like, that was the whole goal. I think I started in December and I had to have it done by the end of February. And having that goal made me focus in and get it done. And I think I'm just the type of person that has to have some sort of cohesive goal rather than just write whatever and see what comes out.
Yeah.
You know, I did do that. I did just let the songs come without trying to force them, but I still intentionally sat down and was like, you're recording tonight.
Yep.
Whatever that is, you're recording it.
Yeah, man, that's hard. That's really hard. I'm the same. You know, I know that if I don't have a firm kind of, goal or deadline for something, it'll never get done. And especially as a person that likes to just, I could read every night for 6 hours, or if my wife's not traveling or if she's home, sit on the couch and watch movies or watch Succession for 8 hours, like I have to be like, okay, babe, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to work on music, and me like actually saying that is not only telling her that, but it's also telling me that. It's putting it out into the world that I'm doing it. That's really important and frankly healthy for me. So I'm very similar. I have to, set deadlines and goals. Otherwise, stuff just never gets done. It just remains an idea.
And for you, I'm guessing, since we seem to be wired similarly, that's not just limited to music. I imagine that's almost anything for me. So like, I have a goal, and I've said this on the internet and other places, but I have a goal like I want to squat 500 pounds. That's just something I want to do. There's no real reason for it. I'm not competing or anything like that. I just want to. And I've always wanted to. And until I started telling people that in a more public way, or even in private, just like telling my wife, I want to do this, I plateaued for years but because I just had this goal to myself in my head. But as soon as I started saying it to other people and, saying it now, it's like, okay, well, you said it, you better keep working at it. You better keep going,
Yeah.
And it's that way, when I was building the shred shed, I was like, oh, I got to get it done. And, it's things I have to I can hold myself accountable to a degree, but the one thing I don't want to do is say I'm going to do something and then not do it.
Yes, totally. Fitness is a big one too for me. I think especially after my, injury, for me this year I signed up for STP, the Seattle to Portland ride, a little prematurely, just because I found out 2 weeks later that my best friend, his 40th birthday party is like that Saturday night here in Seattle. So I can't doing it, but my hope is to do it next year. But, especially after my injury, I, wanted to get back into doing stuff, and so I signed up to I'm not like I don't know about you, like I like lifting weights and I like doing cardio, but I've never been a high impact dude. Like I'm not a runner. Like I like riding bikes. And since I'm psychotic, I did construction for a long time. I like climbing stairs. So I do stair climb challenges here. I did them before the pandemic. I haven't done one since, but so I signed up to do Base to Space here in October, which is the Space Needle climb.
Gnarly.
And that'll be my first one back since my injury, and obviously back since the pandemic. So that's the ones that I used to do was the Columbia Tower one. So yeah, and it's the same thing. It's accountability, but also a goal. Like I know that I can't just start September 15th, climbing the stairs in my house 5 times a day. Like I actually have to get up and go out and start doing stuff. Otherwise I'll die.
Absolutely.
So, when it comes to that stuff, there's a little bit more than public shaming of, oh, well, you didn't put your record out. it's like you might actually die, or the paramedics might have to come to help you. So I think it's probably a worthwhile thing. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter what it is telling somebody that you care about that you're going to do something, because as soon as you do that, your feet are somewhat held to the fire. I mean, there's no real consequences. If I tell my wife I want to squat 500 pounds and I don't do it, there's no real consequence there, and she's not going to make fun of me or anything. But it puts something in your head, and and
you just want to do it. And for me, it's if I just had an arbitrary goal of, I just want to get in better shape, that's hard to quantify.
Totally,
Yep. And what does that mean? Stronger, better endurance, leaner? Like, what does that mean? It could mean anything to anybody, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with being arbitrary, but being specific has always been helpful for me, always.
What I've also found, since we're getting real personal here, it's one thing that I've found that it doesn't work for me is being too, saying I want to do too much.
Yes.
I want to quit drinking so much. I want to quit smoking weed. I want to quit all of the things at the same time. Let's just try one thing at a time here, and then build up to all of the great things. You can't start meditating and stop drinking a bottle of whiskey and stop eating meat and all of these things the same week.
It's going to be rough,
because it's just going to. Well, it'll be rough, but it's also not going to be sustainable long term. You're just going to quit. Instead of building those things up over time, good habits.
100%. 100%. I mean, and I think that a lot of people run into those things. There's a lot of people doing the 75 hard right now. Have you seen that?
No, I don't know what that is.
So I don't remember where it started from. I heard about it a few years ago on another podcast, the 3 a.m. podcast, which I love. I heard about it maybe 2 years ago on there, but I know it didn't start there. It's something like, somebody more knowledgeable on it can correct me, but it's something to the effect of, for 75 days, there's no alcohol. You have to be on some sort of diet. It's not specific. It just says some sort of planned regimented eating, whatever that happens to be. You have to work out twice a day for 45 minutes apiece. One of those has to be outside.
Wow.
And you have to read 10 pages of a book every day. And I don't remember. I believe it's nonfiction required. And you have to do that every single day for 75 days, no matter what, in order to complete. And if you miss a day, you have to restart.
Is it 45 day hard or 75 hard?
75. Yeah.
This sounds like 2-a-days at football.
I know.
like when you were a kid,
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I've thought about giving it a go, but I'm also it's kind of funny because it's a little bit counterproductive for my main overall goal. Doing 2 workouts a day of that nature wouldn't be helpful for me hitting that 500 pound. Now it sounds like I'm making that as an excuse, because I'm not. I want to hit that first, and then maybe I'll try this, because I like things that are difficult but not forever.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, maybe like 5 hard.
5 hard. I did the 5 hard challenge.
Do that. Yeah.
Now I can handle that. Yeah. The double workouts honestly is tough.
God, I know.
Even it'd be easier for me to do 1 2-hour workout than 2 45s, because you have to add like a little bit of time onto each one for like, okay, now I got to take a shower or be disgusting until my next workout, and another pair of clothes, like. It's just like there's multiple layers. It'd be way easier to just do it all in one shot. But I guess that's why it's called hard.
Well, plus, like, do you not have a job? Like, do these people just like, are they retired? Like, this seems very, waking up at 4 a.m. and, staying up, and it's just like, where's the time for this kind of stuff?
I guess that's why there's a time. I think the point is that obviously it's not sustainable, but it helps a lot of people break through and start building better habits long term. Like, obviously you can't do that forever. Nobody can, because you have a life, where most people do. So
I like getting up early. Are you an early guy?
Not even slightly.
Well, I'm not early, but because I'm old, but I'm also early because of dogs. So, and I also like to get up early because I like to be the only one awake in the house. So I get up around 5. And I get up and like drink coffee, and I meditate before the dogs and my wife comes downstairs, and we read our paper like a couple old people. She does her crossword, and I read my book. But it's just nice to be like have peace and quiet by myself. But that gives you more time. I've found otherwise, what I don't like is just like the chaos of jumping into a day.
Okay.
So I was talking to like Markle, actually. I was like, how was your day this morning? He's like, oh, great. I slept till 9:30. I was like, 9:30? Like, I couldn't tell you the last time I slept till 9:30, like maybe when I was in my 20s, like not like trying to brag. My body won't let me sleep that long. I don't know what that's like anymore.
I do it on the opposite end. You like the peace and quiet in the morning, kind of get ready for the day, getting everything started. And I'm more like Greg, where I usually get up about 8:30, and that's pretty common. I could sleep all day. I'm a sleeper. That's my superpower. Just out. But I'm a night owl. So So 1's very common. 2's a little more rare, but it happens occasionally. Midnight is me being like, I should go to bed early tonight, Right. So
are you like working on music? Are you reading, watching movies? All of the above?
It's kind of whatever. Yeah, it's any of those things. It's generally, if I have something going, it'll often be music. I got new seals on my door, so it makes late night music even more fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's I thought it was fairly isolated out here. Then I got better seals, and I'm like, oh wow, I was leaking so much sound out there.
Neighbors were telling you?
No, not the neighbors so much, because it's a long story. The configuration of the shred shed is like, the neighbor that's far away is far enough away that it doesn't bother them. The neighbor that's really close didn't even know I was a musician.
Oh, that's awesome.
That they're against like the solid wall, but the door is pointed the other way. But my whole family definitely let me know about it.
Gotcha.
It's really quiet out here. I'm making it sound like it's not, but I also play really loud. So it offsets that. But yeah, I'll do music. Most of the American Cyclops record, the Tom record, was done between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Like almost all of it, except for like some of the the notorious guy getting arrested field recording was done right outside the shred shed. They couldn't see me, but I heard the guy getting arrested on the other side of the hedge, and I recorded him.
What did you record that with?
That that was just a phone. A lot of it I did with like a Shure MV88, like into the phone. Some of it was, one of those Zoom recorders. But that one specifically, because I just heard it happening, I was like,
Yeah.
And I was
Gotta
already
do it.
I was already in field recording mode.
Yeah.
Just because I would go places and hear things and go, oh, I should capture that.
Yep.
That'll be an interesting texture or something. So I'd already been thinking of the world with that mindset, and I heard this happening, and I was like, I don't know if this is going to be usable or not, but I'm going to record it real quick.
Yeah.
So I whipped my phone out, recorded it, and then went to bed.
Yeah.
So,
I'm the same way. I always I capture so much stuff with my phone, weird conversations, and then just texture them in as like, just layers or textures or something to like elevate a part,
You did your Sweetwater guy.
I did do the Sweetwater guy. I reamped him. God bless him. But yeah, just he didn't make it into a recording, I don't think. But I did do him as a YouTube short. Yeah, that's fun.
I loved that. That was great.
Yeah, I think I did use two Karens yakking it up at the bar. Used her.
I remember that.
Used them. I put them. They're on the new record. They're in there. They don't know it, but they're in there. So yeah, I love that stuff too. Even just like weird like traffic sounds or like planes at the airport flying. I just love that stuff, and the subtlety of it. That no one ever notices, but I think is just so cool. So
I liked that when I put it out, there was people trying to guess what it was. There were certain things that I made that were supposed to sound like certain things, and they did. But then people knew I didn't actually murder anyone, so they wanted to know, like, what are you dragging?
Different things to different people,
Yep. I mean, but recording some of those was really fun because I got to pretend to be an actor with no cameras and just try to make the sounds sound like what I think they should sound, almost more like a Foley artist in some ways.
Yep.
But the parts where I'm driving my car, I'm purposely like accelerating in a certain way to make it sound like intentional and urgent. So like everything there is there on purpose. None of it's an accident that it's woven in together with the rest of the music and everything. I was trying to create a certain atmosphere.
It's true sound design, and you're not like fixing it in Pro Tools or anything. You're actually like manipulating it in real time instead of trying to fix it in post. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. And I definitely want to do some of that on the next thing. And even you and I just sitting here talking about it, I'm like, well, I really should get back on the story project. That's firing me up internally right now. So if I'm getting fired up about it, it's a good sign that I should probably
I think it's an awesome idea. I think that rules. So what comes first?
We are brought to you today by Sweetwater, specifically the Gear Exchange. You may have heard about this. This is a place where you can go to buy and sell your used gear. Maybe you got a pedal over there that's just kind of collecting dust. Maybe there's something you've been eyeing from the Sweetwater catalog. Well, right now is a great time to turn that unused gear into something you're actually going to use. Even better, if you sell on the Gear Exchange, you can keep 100% of the sale as long as you choose a Sweetwater gift card as your payout method. That is not too shabby because, let's be honest, most of this buying and selling we do is just to fund new gear purchases, and that is a great way to reach a wide variety of customers and keep 100% in your pocket, or rather on your pedal board. So go check out the Sweetwater Gear Exchange and turn that unused gear into something that's actually going to help you write that next huge riff.
Hello there. I'd like to introduce you to your new best friend, the Chase Bliss Audio Lossy. Lossy is a collaboration between Chase Bliss and Goodhertz. And it's meant to give you some control over those weird digital artifacts that come with very compressed audio. You're hearing it right now. All the changes that are taking place are strictly coming from my playing dynamics. I'm just interacting with the pedal and letting it do its thing. In some true stereo goodness. If you'd like some more details about Lossy, I'd invite you to head over to chaseblintsaudio.com. I think you're going to like what you find.
The story, yeah, I think at least so far that's how it's came first, and I think that's because, in order to make it match music, and it's probably going to be pretty ambient, less beat driven type stuff just because of the nature of it. But to make it match the music and also have the words form their own sort of rhythm that makes sense without the music is going to be hard. But I think I can do it if I stick to my more drony nature.
I think that's awesome. That's such a cool idea. Damn it.
I'll send you the first one when we get done here.
That's a wish I'd thought of it idea. That's how good it is. That's how good it is. Yeah, please send it to me.
I will. I think it fits too with the idea of releasing them as podcasts first, before they hit streaming. I think that will fit nicely. And it might be even a little easier to cut up than the first one because there will be distinct chapters, or at least portions. But it certainly isn't what everyone says you should do for a streaming release, right? Everyone's like 2.5 minutes max.
I know. Yeah, but you know what? I don't know. I'm an old guy.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. I'm a front to back listener.
Mm-hmm.
Singles are cool, and I definitely released a lot of singles, but I still listen to records like front to back, A to B first.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I like that. I just like it as a format. It's part of it's what I grew up with, but part of it, I think there's an art form, not just to crafting an individual song, but if you're trying to make it a cohesive record and have it all make sense and order the tracks in a certain way, I think that can lend itself to, it's almost more like a movie rather than, a 3-minute skit or something.
Oh yeah, there is an art form to sequencing a record without a doubt. Like telling the story, the arc, and everything is as important as the songs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I've always felt that. So that's why full records are just, they're a whole story.
Yeah.
Some aren't, some are collections of songs, but I think that's also a tribute to mastering a whole record is why it's so important, is because you're putting, to me, mastering a record is like putting a cover on a book.
Mm-hmm.
You're making it all cohesive. You're making it all part of the same story versus just a random collection, a compilation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With the Unknown Ghosts, especially the Volume 2, was there something you were trying to? Well, actually, not just the Volume 2, but all of them. Was there something you were trying to express with these, or was it more just like how you were feeling at the time? Especially actually more talking about the first one, really, since you were literally bedridden. That's not a good feeling, even if you see a light at the end of the tunnel. It's never good while you're in it.
Not really. I think at the time it was just a lot of like watching baseball, kind of going in and out of this like sleepy haze, being on a lot of drugs, listening to my wife and dogs sleeping, recording at weird hours because of how I was, sleeping, or not being able to sleep. And I think I was just this excitement of this odd time in my life. And just, it's weird, that time was obviously challenging for a number of reasons. For physically, it was challenging for our marriage because you go from everything being awesome to all of a sudden someone being a caregiver overnight, literally, that's hard. But for me, it was physically hard and painful and challenging, but it was also kind of a nice time, as weird as that sounds like, because all I had to do was focus on getting better, and not think about work or anything like that. And so I also was able just to lay there and work on music, and that was an interesting place to be in. So it was just like this fully creative space.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I answered your question, but it was just
Sounds like it's more of a snapshot of the time than an intentional, I need to express this feeling.
It was. I think the feeling was, I can't sing, I can't play guitar, but how can I still be creative in a way that I'm not used to being? How can I express myself in a way that is uncomfortable for me? Like, I know how to find notes on a keyboard and how to, tap drum beats out and stuff, but it's not my primary thing. But now it's a thing that I love just as much as playing guitar. So as screwed up as that situation was, it's taken me to a new place that I cherish. So, in a weird way, I'm thankful for all of that time,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, those times, while it's never fun and you would never choose to have something like that happen to you, when you're on the other side of it, I think being able to reflect on it in a positive way is very healthy, because you could very easily be like, can't believe all this terrible things always happen to me. And then you don't get anything out of it. And I mean, and it's true. Nobody wants this to happen, but it's trying to find the gold nuggets when you're down in the mine is the magic sauce. And it can be really hard to do.
Yeah.
But if you can do it, I think you'll be better off mentally, physically, just emotionally. You're better off trying to find the positives in any situation, even if it can be really challenging, I think.
Yeah. I'm really grateful, for my life and for, everything that I have. And I'm just glad that I was able to get through it with the support that I have from my family and from my wife, and just that I was able to, come out of it and create art, and that people, have listened to it and have wanted to chat about it, and I'm very thankful for that. So.
Yeah. I mean, I had a really good time on it, and I talked to some of the other people that worked on it, and they all shared the same feeling. So it's a cool thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next with it, because
Thanks, man.
It has, like you said, it's opened up a new avenue of expression for you, and it'll be exciting to see where it goes.
Thank you.
Very cool.
It was fun to play guitar on it, because I didn't play guitar on the first one at all. So it was fun to get that, back.
Well, and you got all these new toys.
I do
in that time frame too.
Yeah,
so
yeah. It was really fun to get back to playing guitar. So that was cool. So
yeah. Well, we're nearing the end of the podcast, and I do have the classic questions I like to wrap this up on. But of course, before I do, I like to give the guests the opportunity to take the floor, plug anything you want to plug, shout out your grandma if you want to, say whatever you want to say. You got a couple thousand people listening to you right now, and the floor is yours, good sir.
Well, my nice grandma is dead. My evil grandma is dead too. So no shout outs there.
Shout out evil grandma.
No thanks.
Oh no thanks. No thanks.
I just want to say thanks so much for having me on. Thanks for coming up and being part of the record. If people want to check it out, I'm on Instagram. New Concerns is my name on there. I have a link in my bio, like most people, that links to all of those things. I'm on Spotify and all of the places under Daniel G. Harmann, Harmann. Yeah, that's about it. I'm always going to be putting out music. You can't stop me. So sorry about that.
That's right.
Can't stop, just like you can't stop the dogs from barking.
No, you can't
when
stop
you have
them.
the opportunity to plug yourself. So thank you so much, man. I appreciate you having me. And hit me with them rapid fires.
All right, cool. So for the listeners, all of those links will, of course, be in the show notes of this podcast. So you can just go over wherever you're listening, Spotify, Apple, etc., and you will see the links to his Instagram and the links to the streaming services where you can listen to that. And of course, I'm not going to put all of the streaming services in there, probably just Spotify and Apple. So, but search him up. He's easy to find.
No Amazon Music? Come on. I'm just kidding.
Well,
I'm kidding.
There's
There's a dude out there that only listens on Amazon.
I got affiliate links to put in there.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. So, yeah, that'll all be down there. All right. So, final questions.
Let's roll.
First one. What is your favorite Boss pedal?
Oh, geez. Metal Zone? No.
Yeah?
No.
One right back there.
The white delay one. I'm terrible with names of things. So
DD3?
Yeah, DD3. There you go. I have had that was my touring and recording workhorse for forever.
The DD3 is great.
Yeah.
I think the DD3 is a little bit underrated. We've gotten so used to the DD3 just being ubiquitous and everywhere, but like really listen to how good a DD3 sounds next time you have an opportunity to plug one in, folks. It is a very good pedal. I love the DD3. I recently got a vintage DD3 and the DD2, and I am fully convinced that they are the exact same pedal.
I believe you because you know all things about pedals, and also the chromatic tuner. I mean, you can't. Technically is a Boss pedal, right?
I think that's the most popular answer.
Really? I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, everybody's used it.
And Metal Zone, that has to be.
I love the Metal Zone. I got this all murdered out one back here that nobody can see, but it's back there.
Really? Like black on black on black?
Yeah. Check this out.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Here we go. Audio people can't see it, but
that is awesome.
Yeah, this was a special edition they did, and the guys from Boss, Aaron, shout out Aaron, he tracked me down after I told him I was looking for one. He tracked me down at NAMM and was like, "Here you go, I got you one." I was like, "Dude."
He's like, here's a pedal and a box of Sharpies. Go for it.
Yeah, it was the murdered out Metal Zone to go along with my inverted DS1. So I've got the orange on black DS1.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so big Boss fan over here. All right, final question. What is your favorite kind of pizza?
Oh, geez. So this is controversial.
It always is.
Okay, so I'm pescatarian, I guess. I don't eat land animals, but I love pineapple on pizza.
I know.
I break your heart every time.
Every time.
So I like pineapple and jalapeno. That's it.
Jalapeno, I like.
Yeah,
I'm on board with that.
Pineapple, jalapeno. I'll pretty much eat. I just don't like raw onion. I don't like onions on pizza. So I'll, if the wife's out of town and I'm going Domino's style, I'll get like jalapeno, pineapple, olives, and mushrooms. Sometimes I'll just go bare jalapeno, pineapple. But those are my two favorite toppings if I'm going nasty.
So,
what about you? What about you though?
Oh man, I mean, I'm a bit snobby, with this. I love New York pizza. Absolutely love it. I thought it was all hype before I actually went there and tried it and realized, no, it's not. Like, I love New York pizza.
Oh yeah.
I love like Italian wood-fired style pizzas too. That was the first realization that I had that pizza could be more than Domino's or whatever. Was this local place that opened up about 15 years ago called Mi Familia, wood-fired Italian pizzas, and I was like, man, it's kind of expensive for a 12-inch pizza, and I have proceeded to give them probably thousands and thousands of dollars at this point because I absolutely love their pizza so much. It's so good.
Did you ever have Via Tribunale when they were down there?
No.
They're a Seattle company, but there was one down kind of by Ash Street Saloon. Down in downtown, and I think they were probably there for like 5 years, but they are awesome. Next time you're up here, I'll take you. But
is that chain? Like, it's not huge. Is that it's like a small chain, or is that a different one?
3 or 4 here in Seattle. They're
I'm trying.
Neapolitan. How do you
Neapolitan?
Yeah. Wood fired.
So I'm 99.9% sure we went there. When we went to Rocco's, and then that's the first place we went. And then we went to another place that I can't remember the name of, but I did post in that same carousel of stuff for when we were recording. And I was like, I can't remember the name of it, but it was really good.
Well, we'll definitely go next time you come up to Via Tribunale. And when did we talk about the banh mi?
We didn't talk about the banh mi. I can't talk about the banh mi because as much as I tried to get my family to order the banh mi, the banh mi pizza at
Yeah.
Rocco's. Nobody wanted it,
All
and so
Okay.
I had to get a different pizza.
All right. Well,
but I want the banh mi.
so
really
when
bad.
you come up, it's bond me and you, buddy.
All right,
We'll do
We're
it.
doing it.
Because Sophia won't eat it either. Because it's just like their pizzas are not small.
They're
So,
big.
Yeah. So that's a lot of leftovers. And I can't just get it if she's out of town because then I'll
That's
eat
all you'll
it for
eat
the
the
rest
whole
of my
time.
life.
Yeah.
So next time you're here, we're doing it.
All right, I like that. We can make that happen.
All right.
We'll make that happen sooner rather than later.
All right, my friend.
Yes, dude. Well, hey, you mind if we slide over to Patreon and see what kind of weirdness we can get into over there?
Let's do it.
All right, everybody. For Daniel, this is Blake, and as always, folks, good luck.
Thank you so
and good
much.
tones. Later, dude.
Bye.
All right, folks, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you enjoy Unknown Ghosts. So check that out wherever you stream your music, and don't forget about the Gun Street Burnsides. If you want to hear some really cool demos, go to the product page. It's in the link in the show notes, and check that out. And also, don't forget the discount, the Stringjoy discount. That is Tone Mob will get you a one-time 10% off discount. If you've been wanting to try us but just have never pulled the trigger, there you go. All right, everybody, make sure you check out Daniel on the social medias as well. His Instagram is linked down there, New Concerns. And yeah, you know what? I think that's enough blabbing for now. I'll talk to you on the internet very, very soon. Later. One last thing before we totally sign off here. I just want to remind you that if you do any shopping at Stringjoy, that's Stringjoy guitar strings made in Nashville, that will help me out as well. As I've said for years, I'm heavily involved in that company, and I really do think they're making the best products on the market. So if you would like to try custom strings, go to tonemob.com/stringjoy and check them out today. I seriously love what the team down there is doing. I help them out with all kinds of things, and by you supporting them, you are also supporting me as well. And hey, you need some strings, so why not get some custom strings just for your guitar and playing style? Again, the link for that is tonemob.com/stringjoy, and that will take you right to their website, and you can do all your shopping through there, and that will help everyone involved out. So thank you very much. Talk to you next time. We are brought to you by the wonderful folks at Gun Street Wiring Shop. Yes, Gun Street Wiring Shop. I've talked about them before. I used to say based out of Bend, Oregon, but guess what? Sean moved to my neck of the woods. Sean's in Portland. Sean is awesome and has helped me with a bunch of stuff lately. And if you have wiring needs for your guitar, he can help you too. If you want to get weird with it, he can get weird. If you just need to spruce things up a little bit, there's your guy. He takes all the guesswork out of doing your guitar wiring, and he makes it simple, and his customer service is top-notch, and I can't say enough good things about Gun Street as a company. I really respect Sean and what he's all about, and the product is top-notch. I've got 3 different guitars that now have Gun Street harnesses in them, and I could not be happier. So go to gunstreetwiringshop.com and check them out.
Hey, this is Aaron from No Simple Road. I'm inviting you to come hang out with Apple, Mel, and I as we talk with the musicians, artists, chefs, authors, and beyond from the world that turns us on. We're reaching into the improvisational music scene, the psychedelic culture, the festival world, and getting to know what makes the people tick that create those scenes. Come join us on the long, strange trip over at No Simple Road.
Hey everyone, this is Tuck from Fit for a King, an off-road minivan. Every week I bring you fun interviews alongside your favorite metalcore entertainers with my new podcast, Get Tucked. Join me every Monday with bands like Counterparts, Crystal Lake, like Moths to Flames, and many more. We play unsigned and undiscovered bands, deep dive into each artist's history, and of course provide the greatest breakdowns in current metalcore. Tune in to Get Tucked every Monday, out now through Sound Talent Media.